What if the story of human evolution is not as natural as we think? For centuries, archaeology has traced our origins back to the slow, patient processes of evolution, from fragile prehistoric humans to the rise of Neanderthals to the survival of Homo sapiens. But scattered among the bones and ruins are questions that refuse to go away. Questions so strange, so unsettling that many scientists avoid them altogether. Why did our brains expand so rapidly in such a short span of evolutionary time? Why do we possess symbolic thought, language, and abstract reasoning when no other species, even our closest cousins, made the same leap? And why do ancient myths, from cultures separated by oceans, whisper of gods descending from the skies, shaping mankind in their image? Could it be that our story was altered? This is where we step into the shadows of anthropology, into the realm of theories often dismissed as too dark, too speculative. Theories that suggest prehistoric humans may have been touched, not by divine hand in a spiritual sense, but by something closer to manipulation, genetic manipulation. It sounds like science fiction, but the evidence, archaeological, mythological, and even genetic, provokes questions too powerful to ignore. Ancient Sumerian tablets speak of the Anunnaki, sky beings who created mankind as workers. Egyptian myths describe gods who fashioned humans from clay. Even the Book of Enoch whispers of watchers who descended to mingle with the daughters of men, altering the destiny of our species. What if these are not mere allegories, but distorted memories of something real? Science, too, raises eyebrows. Around 200,000 years ago, Homo sapiens appeared with a suite of advanced traits: larger brains, symbolic thinking, and complex language capacity. To archaeologists, it looks like a leap. To geneticists, it almost resembles an upgrade. Some researchers have even speculated about foreign DNA fragments, markers that don't easily fit into the neat tree of human evolution. Of course, mainstream archaeology explains these changes through natural selection, survival pressure during the Ice Age, and chance genetic mutations. But the speed, the scale, the precision leave room for darker interpretations. Tonight, we will explore the uncharted territory of human history. We will walk the caves where Neanderthals painted their world in ochre and ask why Homo sapiens alone carried symbolic art to its peak. We will sift through myths of lost civilizations that speak of knowledge, gifted or stolen, from beings beyond. And we will listen to the scientists who argue, cautiously but firmly, that humanity's origins still contain mysteries not yet solved. This is not about believing or disbelieving. It is about asking, about daring to peer into the shadows cast by archaeology, and wondering if someone, or something, once reached into the fabric of our DNA and rewrote the story. So I ask you, are we truly the children of Earth's slow evolution? Or are we the legacy of a forgotten experiment? The answers may shake the very foundation of what it means to be human.
To understand the darker theories of genetic manipulation, we must first lay the foundation, the accepted scientific story of human evolution, and the archaeological record that supports it. Only then can we see where the cracks appear, where unanswered questions creep in, and why some researchers dare to imagine alternative explanations. The known story of human evolution. Archaeology tells us that the human journey begins over 6 million years ago, when our ancestors split from the line that would become modern chimpanzees. Over time, a mosaic of hominids, creatures both human-like and primitive. Australopithecus everensis, like the famous Lucy, walked upright in Africa over 3 million years ago, still with ape-like features. Around 2 million years ago, Homo habilis emerged, known for making the first stone tools. Homo erectus followed, spreading across Africa and into Asia and Europe, mastering fire and developing social hunting strategies. Later, Neanderthals and Denisovans appeared, robust Ice Age humans who survived in harsh climates. Finally, about 200,000 years ago, Homo sapiens, modern humans, arose in Africa. Within 100,000 years, they spread across the globe, interbreeding with Neanderthals and Denisovans, and eventually becoming the dominant human species. This is the accepted sequence, supported by fossils, stone tools, cave art, and, more recently, DNA analysis. The leap problem. But even within this framework, mysteries remain. Around 200,000 years ago, something happened that scientists still debate. Anatomically modern humans appeared with brains that were not only larger, but wired differently. Within a blink in evolutionary terms, Homo sapiens began creating art, symbolic language, and complex culture. At Blombos Cave in South Africa, archaeologists found etched ochre and shell beads dating back nearly 75,000 years, evidence of abstract thought. In Chauvet Cave in France, 30,000-year-old paintings show animals in dynamic motion, art that rivals modern illustration. Neanderthals, too, used pigments and jewelry, but their art seems sporadic compared to the sudden explosion of creativity in Homo sapiens. How did this leap happen so fast? Evolutionary changes typically span hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years. Yet the transition from primitive stone tools to symbolic art feels almost instantaneous. The genetic puzzle. Genetics complicates the story further. By sequencing ancient DNA, scientists have mapped interactions between Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, and Denisovans. We know we carry fragments of their DNA, proof of interbreeding. But we also carry something else, genes unique to us, not found in any other hominin. One of these is the FOP2 gene, linked to language ability. While Neanderthals also carried a version of FOP2, the modern human variation seems to work differently, potentially unlocking our capacity for complex speech. Another puzzle lies in the rapid growth of the neocortex, the part of the brain responsible for higher thought. Researchers note that the timeline for these changes is compressed. Some call it a natural fluke. Others whisper, could something or someone have altered our DNA? Archaeology meets mythology. Archaeology alone does not claim genetic manipulation, but when paired with ancient myths, patterns emerge that provoke speculation. In Mesopotamia, the Sumerians wrote of the Anunnaki, deities who came from the heavens and fashioned mankind to serve them. These myths describe humans as workers created to mine resources for the gods. In Egypt, inscriptions tell of gods who shaped humans from clay, almost like a biological experiment. The Book of Enoch, excluded from most biblical canons, describes watchers, celestial beings who descended to earth, took human wives, and produced offspring. Across the Americas, tribes like the Hopi speak of sky people who guided early humans. Skeptics dismiss these as symbolic stories explaining creation, but to some researchers they sound uncannily like fragmented memories of ancient contact retold over millennia. The archaeological absences. Another layer of mystery lies in what we do not find. Despite our knowledge of human evolution, the fossil record is incomplete. Entire species may be missing. Gaps exist in the timeline of human development, periods where sudden changes appear without clear precursors. For example, Homo sapiens appears abruptly, already distinct from earlier hominins. Where is the clear chain of transitional fossils? We have candidates, but not enough to form a seamless line. For some, this opens the door to speculation. Perhaps there was intervention. The case of lost civilizations. Adding to this, archaeology hints at knowledge more advanced than expected for prehistoric humans. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, built around 11,000 years ago, shows megalithic stone pillars arranged in symbolic circles, thousands of years before organized agriculture. Who built it, and how did hunter-gatherers acquire the engineering skill? Could there have been forgotten contact with a teacher civilization? Or, as some fringe theories suggest, did humans receive an artificial boost, a manipulated inheritance encoded into their genes? Mainstream science cautions against these ideas. Natural selection, climate pressures during the Ice Age, and cultural accumulation explain the leaps. They argue that survival demanded intelligence, and small incremental changes, magnified over generations, led to our abilities. Myths, they say, are metaphors for natural forces, not history. But even cautious researchers admit the pace of human evolution remains unusual. Archaeology, genetics, and mythology combine into a puzzle that has not yet been solved. Why this matters? Whether one accepts genetic manipulation theories or not, the implications are profound. If humanity is entirely natural, our story is one of resilience, adaptation, and survival against the odds. But if there was interference, if prehistoric humans were helped or altered, then our story is one of inheritance, of being part of a design whose purpose we do not fully understand. Either way, the mystery forces us to ask, who are we, truly? Children of Earth alone, or heirs to something more?
Picture this. The Ice Age winds scream across the tundra. A small band of prehistoric humans huddles around a fire, their faces lit by flickering flames. They are clever, hunters, toolmakers, survivors, but they are not yet us. Their language is fragmented, their art crude, and then, almost suddenly, in evolutionary terms, everything changes. They begin to carve symbols into bone, paint animals that move across cave walls, and whisper stories of sky gods who taught them secrets. What happened? This is the heart of the dark theory of genetic manipulation, that somewhere in our deep prehistory, something altered the human line, and the evidence, while not proof, forms an eerie mosaic. The sudden brain expansion. Our ancestors' brains expanded at an unprecedented rate. From Homo erectus to Homo sapiens, the leap in size and complexity is often called the Great Leap Forward. Within tens of thousands of years, humans moved from simple tools to complex symbolic culture. Evolution usually works in slow increments, but this was acceleration. Some theorists argue it resembles the effect of targeted editing rather than random mutation. They imagine an experiment, prehistoric humans upgraded for intelligence. Mainstream archaeology attributes this to survival pressures. Ice Age hardships demanded creativity. But was survival pressure alone enough to spark symbolic art, mathematics, and cosmic myths? The FOXP2 gene and the voice of humanity. Among the most mysterious genetic markers is the FOXP2 gene, linked to language. Neanderthals had an early form of it, yet their communication likely lacked the full symbolic range of modern speech. In Homo sapiens, the gene functions differently, enabling syntax, abstraction, and storytelling. Language is the tool that makes archaeology possible. Without it, there is no myth, no oral tradition, no lost civilization to remember. Was FOXP2 a lucky mutation, or was it introduced? Imagine an Ice Age scene, a prehistoric tribe listening as one of their own begins to string sounds into words, weaving a story for the first time. To them, it must have felt like magic. Myth as memory. Archaeological sites are full of symbols that resemble what myths later describe. At Göbekli Tepe, intricate carvings and animals and abstract figures appear thousands of years before farming. Archaeologists are stunned. Hunter-gatherers were not supposed to have this knowledge, yet they did. Could these carvings represent knowledge gifted from somewhere else or someone else? The Sumerian tablets speak of gods who created mankind to mine gold. Egyptian myths say humans were shaped like clay by divine hands. In Mesoamerican stories, the gods experimented with multiple creations before humans were just right.
What if these were not simply metaphors? What if prehistoric humans were remembering, in mythic form, the trauma of alteration? The hybrid offspring. Another recurring theme is the union of gods with humans. The Book of Enoch calls them watchers, who fathered giants, the Nephilim. Greek mythology tells of Zeus descending to mingle with mortals. Across cultures, the motif is the same: divine beings tampering with human bloodlines. Archaeology shows that interbreeding between species was real. Homo sapiens mixed with Neanderthals and Denisovans. But some suggest myths point to something beyond natural interbreeding: experiments, manipulations, hybrids that left traces in our DNA. The archaeological shadows. Cave paintings in France, Spain, and Indonesia show symbolic art tens of thousands of years old. Among them are strange figures, part human, part animal, part bird. Mainstream science calls them shamans or symbolic hybrids, but others wonder, were these representations of something our ancestors saw, beings neither fully human nor beast? Stone tools evolve steadily in the record. Then suddenly there are leaps: finely crafted blades, bone flutes, jewelry. Archaeology attributes this to cumulative culture. Yet to some, it resembles the sudden injection of new ideas, as if knowledge was given rather than discovered. A story in the firelight. Imagine a Neanderthal band, strong and resilient, surviving harsh winters. Then imagine a group of Homo sapiens arriving, not physically stronger, but carrying fire-hardened tools, language, and symbolic art. Within millennia, Neanderthals vanish, leaving only traces of their DNA in us. Was this the result of natural competition, or was Homo sapiens enhanced, designed to dominate? The theory of manipulation suggests an unsettling possibility: that prehistoric humans were shaped for a purpose. Some theorists, borrowing from Sumerian texts, argue that we were engineered as workers. Others suggest we were a genetic experiment, one of many, some discarded. If so, archaeology is not just the study of lost civilizations, it is the study of a forgotten laboratory. The emotional weight of the question. This theory unsettles because it challenges identity. If true, then human evolution is not solely the triumph of adaptation, it is also interference. It means our myths of gods may be distorted memories of genetic designers. It means our uniqueness was not entirely natural. But even if false, the very fact that our origins are so mysterious is telling. Why does evolution leave so many gaps? Why do myths across continents echo the same strange stories? The caves, the fossils, the DNA, they whisper of a hidden chapter in our past. Whether written by nature alone or by hands unseen remains the question.
Now that we've explored the darker theory of prehistoric genetic manipulation, we must pause and consider the other side. Serious archaeology and evolutionary biology rely on caution, evidence, and skepticism. To many scientists, the idea that ancient humans were designed or altered feels not only unlikely, but unnecessary. They argue that the story of human evolution, though mysterious in parts, can still be explained without invoking manipulation. The mainstream view: evolutionary pressure. Most anthropologists explain the Great Leap Forward through environmental pressures. During the Ice Age, prehistoric humans faced extreme climates, scarce food, and constant predators. Only the most adaptable survived. Fire allowed tribes to cook food, releasing more calories and supporting brain growth. Harsh winters forced cooperation, driving the development of language and symbolic communication. Toolmaking evolved because survival demanded sharper blades, better hunting weapons, and stronger shelters. In this view, what looks like a sudden leap was actually the result of long, cumulative pressures. Archaeology reveals gradual refinements, stone tools improving generation by generation, not overnight miracles. The FOXP2 debate. Take the FOXP2 gene, Yes, its mutation may have unlocked complex speech in Homo sapiens, but geneticists note that random mutations are common. Billions occur across generations. The right mutation, combined with survival advantage, could spread rapidly. FOXP2 may not be evidence of manipulation, but of evolution's natural experimentation. Yet, even among mainstream voices, there is unease. Why did this mutation arise in us and not persist fully in Neanderthals? Was it timing, chance, or something more deliberate? The archaeological counter-arguments. Göbekli Tepe, the ancient megalithic site, is often used by theorists as evidence of intervention. How could hunter-gatherers build such a place 11,000 years ago? But archaeologists counter that we underestimate ancient humans. They were as intelligent as us. Given enough time and collaboration, building stone circles was within their capacity. Similarly, cave art at Chauveau or Altamira is sometimes described as too advanced for Ice Age people. Yet experiments with indigenous tools show it is possible with patience, talent, and imagination. For skeptics, the dark theory underestimates human creativity. Skepticism about myths. What about the myths of gods creating mankind? Anthropologists argue that these are universal because human imagination tends to explain existence through personification. Storms became gods of thunder. The sun became a deity. Birth and death demanded explanations, so myths were born. From this perspective, myths of beings who shaped humans reflect natural questions. Who made us? Why are we different? The stories need not be literal memories, but symbolic narratives echoing across cultures. The uncomfortable gaps. Still, even skeptics admit that archaeology leaves gaps. The fossil record is incomplete. Entire species are missing. We know Homo sapiens interbred with Neanderthals and Denisovans, but the details are murky. We also know that our brains reorganized in ways still not fully understood. It is in these gaps that darker theories grow. When science cannot yet explain the speed of human evolution, myths and speculations step in. Some researchers admit privately that we may never have the complete story of how modern humans emerged. The middle ground. There are also moderates, scholars who do not claim genetic manipulation in the literal sense, but acknowledge the possibility of influences beyond our current model. They point out that cross-species gene transfer is a natural process. Viruses, for example, often insert genetic code into their hosts. Could prehistoric humans have been shaped by natural but extraordinary genetic events, later remembered as divine manipulation? This middle ground suggests that myths may be poetic memories of real evolutionary struggles, exaggerated, reinterpreted, and woven into culture. The silence of the record. What makes this debate unsettling is that archaeology may never provide a final answer. Fossils preserve bones, but not intentions. DNA preserves sequences, but not stories. Myths preserve fragments, but not certainty. So we are left with the paradox. If we accept the mainstream story, human evolution is extraordinary but natural, a triumph of survival. If we accept the manipulation theory, human history is stranger still. We may be the product of an ancient experiment. Neither view can be fully proven. Both leave mysteries unresolved. The deeper question. Perhaps the real issue is not whether prehistoric humans were manipulated, but what these stories reveal about us. Why are we so drawn to the idea that our origins are not our own? Why do myths across civilizations insist we were shaped, taught, or engineered? Is it because our leap into symbolic thought feels so unnatural that we cannot accept it as chance? Or is it because, deep down, in the archaeology of memory itself, we carry an echo of something we once experienced? A question without an answer. At the edge of the archaeological record, evidence becomes interpretation. Some see hands of gods, others see the slow fire of evolution. Some imagine genetic experiments, others see the relentless logic of natural selection. So we may never know, but the debate itself matters.
It forces us to confront the fragility of our origins, the mysteries in our DNA, and the haunting possibility that our story is not fully ours. And it leads to the ultimate question. If our past was manipulated, what does that mean for our future?
It is easy to view the question of genetic manipulation as ancient speculation, a mystery lost in the shadows of archaeology and prehistory. But beneath the myths and hypotheses lies a reflection with deep relevance for us today. Whether our ancestors were engineered or not, the lessons hidden in this possibility speak directly to who we are now and who we may become. Lesson 1. Our fragile uniqueness. Imagine a world where Neanderthals survived side by side with Homo sapiens. Archaeology tells us they were strong, intelligent, and capable. Yet we are here and they are gone. If humanity's uniqueness was the result of a natural leap or an engineered one, it reminds us of how fragile existence is. Entire species of prehistoric humans vanished. Civilizations rose and fell, leaving ruins swallowed by jungles or deserts. The reflective question is this: what makes us think we are immune? Like the Neanderthals, modern humans may believe our dominance is permanent, but archaeology's lessons warn otherwise. Every great leap in history comes with risk. If manipulation did play a role in our origins, then our very existence was not only fragile, it was conditional. We are here because someone or something ensured it. That should humble us. Lesson 2. Adaptation is our true power. Whether by natural selection or genetic alteration, the truth is that prehistoric humans adapted. They survived Ice Age winters, volcanic eruptions, and migrations across continents. They painted caves, made fire, hunted mammoths, and endured famine. Theories of manipulation often emphasize what was given to us: language, thought, symbolic reasoning. But even if those abilities were seeded, survival was not guaranteed. It was prehistoric humans themselves who took those tools and adapted, turning knowledge into survival. The lesson for us today is simple. Our true power is not in what we were given, but in how we adapt. Climate change, pandemics, and technological upheaval are our ice age. We too must respond with resilience, creativity, and symbolic vision. Lesson 3. The danger of hubris. If prehistoric humans were genetically shaped, it raises another question. Shaped for what purpose? Myths often suggest utilitarian roles: workers for gods, servants of higher beings. In that sense, our ancestors may have been designed not for freedom, but for function. And yet, here we are, reshaping the earth, building civilizations, studying archaeology, and questioning the universe itself. If we escaped our purpose, then we must reflect. How do we use that freedom? Today, humanity stands on the brink of becoming the manipulator. Through CRISPR and genetic engineering, we're editing life itself. We're doing what the myths say was once done to us. Will we use this power with wisdom or repeat the mistakes of those supposed watchers? Lesson 4. Myths as mirrors. Even if the genetic manipulation theory is symbolic rather than literal, it teaches us something profound about human psychology. Across cultures, prehistoric humans told stories of being shaped, taught, or guided. Why? Perhaps because we instinctively feel that our leap into consciousness was too strange, too fast, too miraculous. Myths become a mirror of our unease with evolution. But they are also a mirror of our aspirations. By imagining beings who gave us knowledge, prehistoric humans acknowledged a deep truth: we are seekers of wisdom. Whether through gods, lost civilizations, or stars, we long to understand where knowledge comes from. That longing continues today in science, philosophy, and archaeology itself. Lesson 5. Responsibility to the future. If our ancestors were manipulated, then we are inheritors of an unfinished experiment. If they were not, then we are the result of millions of years of unbroken survival.
Either way, the implication is the same. Our future is not guaranteed. Civilizations fall, species vanish, even stars burn out. The question is, what story will archaeologists of the future tell about us? Will they see us as a lost civilization, buried like Atlantis or Göbekli Tepe, whispered of in ruins? Or will they see us as the generation that transcended survival, reaching beyond Earth to ensure humanity's continuation? The dark theory of manipulation forces us to consider, if we were shaped for a purpose, perhaps it was to continue the story, to carry life further than our ancestors could imagine. A reflection in the mirror of time. When prehistoric humans painted their caves, they were leaving messages for the future. Archaeology reads them as echoes of survival and myth. Perhaps our own skyscrapers, satellites, and digital archives are the caves of tomorrow, messages for whoever comes after us. If we disappear, what will remain? Fossils, ruins, fragments of DNA, maybe even myths about us. Maybe one day another species will ask, were humans natural or were they manipulated? And maybe they too will never know. Bringing the mystery into today. This is why the theory matters, not because we can prove it, but because it reshapes how we see ourselves. If we are purely natural, our story is resilience. If we are partly engineered, our story is inheritance. In both cases, the challenge is the same. What will we do with the knowledge, the creativity, the consciousness we have? Our ancestors left us mysteries. Art on cave walls, ruins of lost civilizations, fragments of DNA. Their questions are now ours, and as we become capable of manipulating life ourselves, we must ask, are we ready to be the watchers of tomorrow?
In the end, the story of prehistoric humans and the theories of genetic manipulation is not about proving or disproving a single idea. It is about peering into the shadows of our past and realizing how much of it remains unknown. Archaeology gives us bones, ruins, and fragments of DNA. Myth gives us stories of gods, watchers, and creators. Science gives us probabilities, mutations, and survival pressures. But none of these alone explains everything. We stand at the crossroads of mystery. Were we shaped only by the slow hand of evolution? By Ice Age winters, by firelight, by the survival of the fittest? Or did something intervene, leaving whispers in our DNA and memories in our myths? Perhaps the answer is both. Perhaps natural evolution carried us to the threshold, and something else, catastrophe, chance, or design, pushed us over the edge. The leap into symbolic thought, language, and civilization remains one of the greatest puzzles in archaeology and anthropology. What is certain is that we are here, and our story is extraordinary. We carry within us the echoes of Neanderthals, Denisovans, and countless prehistoric humans who did not survive. We carry myths of lost civilizations carved into stone and whispered through time. And we carry the power to question our own origins, to wonder whether we are children of Earth alone or heirs to something beyond. But this story is not just about the past. It is also a warning for the future. If manipulation was part of our beginning, then we are living proof that such acts have consequences far beyond imagination. And now, as we hold the power to edit genes, reshape species, and perhaps even design new humans, we must remember the lesson. To create life is to bear responsibility for its destiny. So, I leave you with this question. Do we really know everything about our ancestors? Or are we still blind to the deeper truth of who we are? Perhaps one day archaeology will uncover the missing link. Perhaps genetics will reveal the signature of an unseen hand. Or perhaps the mystery will endure forever, reminding us that some secrets are meant to provoke wonder, not closure. What we do know is this. Humanity's story is fragile, mysterious, and unfinished. And whether natural or manipulated, it is now ours to continue.
If you found this journey into prehistory and mystery thought-provoking, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Join us again as we uncover more secrets of evolution, archaeology, and the lost civilizations that shaped the human story. Because the past is never truly gone. It lives in us, in our DNA, in our myths, and in the questions we dare to ask. This is the mystery of who we are, and perhaps who we were meant to be.